everyone. This is Sarah Willhite, and this is my midterm, uh, looking at another mirror map, a concept map, on how I have grown since the beginning of this course. So I looked at 6 readings, and looking at these 6 readings, I took quotes from each reading or something that really resonated with me. And then if you look at the green boxes, those kind of how that quote has been implemented within my life, or really an explanation of how that has changed me, or how I use that or believe that within my professional and personal life. So, one of the readings is Everyone Really Equal, an introduction to key concepts in social justice education. The quote that really resonated with me is In today's society, everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed, regardless of race, class, or gender, is the equivalent of a claim that I looked out the window and the earth does not look round to me. So I really believe this to be a ingrained belief within many, many teachers, educators, um, and within many people in society as a whole. So I said, that again, this really resonated with me so much. Often I hear teachers say things like this, if not this exact statement: recognizing your bias and or someone else's biases are opportunities to have crucial and critical conversations. As an educational leader, I have not always handled very tactfully, but it is so important to grow and develop within this area. Other reading, 5 essential components for social justice education. The quote that resonated with me: effective teaching for social justice involves understanding group dynamics of the classroom and the socially constructed identities of teacher and students. So Hackman 2005 really suggests that teachers are so much more than how many of them see themselves, and I'm a big believer in that. Developing a passion for change and taking on something much larger than yourself is what makes life worth living, or what a life worth living is all about. This quote is really just good teaching. Not sure whether the type of teacher we see so often in the classroom that is resistant to this true form of differentiation is really a product of teacher demand and normative programs meeting that demand through the implementation of factory-like teacher preparation programs, or whether it is a generational issue and related to nurturing biases for the families, communities. Either way, it is how I see myself and what I am called to do. Deculturalization and the struggle for equity or equality, a brief history of the education of dominated cultures in the United States, 6th edition. So I pulled the 6 different methods that have been used for cultural or different cultural eradication: cultural genocide, deculturalization, assimilation, cultural pluralism, denial of education, and hybridity. And again, Springer in this reading provides evidence that these are not historical events, but are currently being implemented today on a global scale. And again, throughout my doctorate work, I have welcomed new perspectives and often welcomed the removal of demonizing perspectives of education, allowing myself to embrace change within myself. And I think that's really what doctorate programs do for us. They cause us to see things differently. It's an awakening, it's a journey, it's a metamorphosis. So lots of things you can take away from this, not just a change in how you're addressed. That's not really that important to me anyways, but really just how I've developed in this program and in classes like this. Okay, so understanding education for social justice. Really the quote I took from this was: teaching that inspires justice-oriented citizenship is teaching to the end of arousing a consciousness of membership, active and participant membership in a society of unfulfilled promises, teaching for heightened social consciousness, a wide awakeness that might make injustice unendurable. So Heighton et al. 2011 share this perspective of the why behind teaching. For me, this really is what keeps me motivated. It also allows me to lay my head down on the pillow each night and know that I did right by kids. It also makes me really, really angry, and I feel manipulated and relegated to a place that someone else decided I needed to be. It is difficult but not impossible to move into a light that is championed by a lot of younger generation of advocates and advocacy that's become rather trendy, I think, now. But I am willing, prepared, and excited to develop this same mindset into my teaching staff. Next reading, Encoding, Decoding. This was Stewart, and the quote I took from this was, any society culture tends with varying degrees of closure to impose its classifications of the social and cultural and political world. These constitute a dominant cultural order, though it is neither univocal, not uncontested. So Stewart argues that it is commonplace for the dominant culture to encompass many facets of a person's life, without regard to any cultural differences developed within all of us perceptions of one another. It is difficult to be a teacher in a classroom of students who do not look, think, or act like you, but it is classrooms today. With the majority of my teaching staff white monolingual females, you may argue that it is not surprising that many teachers struggle to connect with students who do not look like, act like, or think like them, but I really disagree with that sentiment. I think that is a conception that is intrinsically tied to our cultural differences. I believe that when you meet people like that say, well, we don't have anything in common, or I just have a really hard time connecting with those students, I think that unwillingness to remove biases and create relationships with those that are different from you, it's really just continued discrimination. And I say it just like I see it. So if I have a teacher that does struggle with building relationships with students, I'm not going to attempt to deliver a soft blow to that teacher and say, well, here are some suggestions, blah, blah, blah. I really want her to take an honest inventory of who she is and how she feels about people that are different than her, or him, or whoever that is. Okay, Horace Mann and the Creation of the Common School. This was Warder, 2015. The quote I took from that, the common school would mitigate class conflict, circumvent anarchy, enhance civic engagement, and perhaps most importantly, inculcate moral habits, all by molding society's most malleable members. And that's very much still happening today. So Warder 2015 definitely provides evidence that the discreetly camouflaged genocide of cultures have been an accepted practice within public education. It is also evident within religions and within politics. It is sad to think how many cultural extinctions have occurred from the Western Eurocentric ideology invasively infiltrated within our world's indigenous populations. So that is my takeaway from this class. I have thoroughly enjoyed the readings in this class. I apologize, I have not been as actively involved in a lot of the discussions, but I am keeping up with my reading and have absolutely enjoyed the readings in this course. I hope you've enjoyed my contribution. Thanks so much.